All right. Excuse me for that. I had to take a phone call. But well, in the meantime, I also managed to get this jacket on. So now it's sort of compressing everything, so it's not moving as much. So let's see if I can perform those techniques with any kind of control like this. Um, what were they again? 3 techniques. Coming right. All right. Okay. Let's first. If I had more space, I could step through this way. That would be pretty good. Maybe the other way around. There's more space that way. So, ding. That was pretty well. You can't, of course, see anything. Weird smell. So, by compressing the male, it helps it keep it a little bit more controlled. Incidentally, I made this sort of in the style of Witcher 2. It's pretty ugly, but does the trick. What was the other thing? So, heavy blow from above. I would block. See, here, this is actually a lot more annoying than the male. Let's get rid of that. Put that there. Let's take another belt. Funny little discovery that if you are doing pirouettes, regular sheaths just get in the way. They tangle up in everything and they're just slowing you down. So maybe back scabbards do make sense. That's actually pretty good. Not too bad. Yeah. What else? Oh god, that thing. So, sweeping blow from the side, I have to block it and the... Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do it without armor, I can't do it with this either. Well, I can sort of do it without armor. Let me try doing it without armor one more time. Before I make any definitive statements about anything. But overall, it seems like putting on more armor makes it a lot more difficult to perform theoretical anti-monster techniques, which utilize turning the body in pirouette or pirouette-like movements. That was pretty loud. Like so. Look. I'm nervous. Nope. I need more space. I'm getting nervous about this. I'm gonna move it like that. Let's chalk that to my experience. So, armor in general appears to make pirouettes a lot more difficult, and as do waist scabbards. So maybe that's a good reason to wear them on your back. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yes. It was brought up by the Metatron, the venerable Metatron, that polearms are very good weapons. Well, and shouldn't witchers also be using polearms? And in light of these excerpts from the book, I don't think polearms or spears would work very well against the monsters the witchers are specialized in hunting, not specifically like neckers or drowners. most humans can deal with those. They're just sort of, they're pests. They're not really a huge danger. Witchers are more about killing big, dangerous things, I would say. So I have a spear, and let's see if I can get in the camera again. Yep, I'm there. If I have a spear, and if I was fighting against the boar, I would have a boar spear, which has a sort of langet, or a cross guard here. So when the boar comes charging in, I would receive it, and it would get stuck there, and I would push with my body weight and try to control it, like so. But well, if you're fighting off against a very large monster, that probably wouldn't work. The monster would just push you back, push you over, send you flying. So the reason why witchers use swords, and they specifically train to dodge, is because they can't contend at all with the power of monsters, with Draco lizards, giant scorpions, what have you. And if these enhanced humans, mutants, witchers can't do it, then normal people can't really either. So the problem isn't so much that this is a bad technique, rather that the problem is that the mass of the human body is not sufficient to weigh down those monsters. It's like a 5-year-old trying to weigh down a human adult man. Right. And then we look at the technique that they were trying to hammer into Siri's head about using the sword, where you always protect yourself. Maybe that works. But then trying to receive the impetus, the energy of a blow from a monster with this is kind of awkward. It's too long. You can't do the same things with a sword because your body's in the way in a lot of situations. And when it isn't, the spear doesn't really, your grip changes too much. Works there. So I have to hold there. It's just very awkward. If I block, unlike steel, this would probably shatter or bend. See, a metal sword, when you receive a blow like that, will flex and bend, but it will hold, allowing you to receive that impact and keep going to give that counter. Whereas I think the wood would break and shatter. And this is, of course, in addition to the problems of, well, this is a big ass weapon. You can't really lug it around all the time, especially if you have to go into a city. And I don't remember if there were any weapons checks in any of the cities in The Witcher, but in a lot of medieval towns, you couldn't really enter a town with a big polearm. It was seen as sort of uncouth, dangerous, violent. You were walking around with a weapon of war, so it wasn't really accepted. A lot of places you even had to hand over your sword for safekeeping, or you had limitations with the blade length. So, yeah, spears probably don't work in the overall context of The Witcher. Polearms probably not either. See, the idea is that you're a bullfighter. You're fighting off against something that's very powerful. So you have to keep dodging, giving it small cuts, small thrusts, keep moving, wear it down, and then finally when it's half dead, you give it the coup de grace, just like a matador. And for that reason, I think Sapkowski based a lot of The Witcher movements on how bullfighters move, which is they have very flamboyant moving out of the way, like so and so. I think that was the basis for the pirouettes, which then is expanded into regular sword fighting because they're not mercenaries, they're not killers for hire, they're monster slayers, and they have a steel sword, but it's not their specialty. It's something that they do on the side if they have to for self-defense. Someone's enthralled by a monster, maybe something like that, but it's not their main purpose. So they're not fighting. Their fighting style is not specifically trained, specifically aimed at killing human beings, be it in armor or outside armor. But rather, they are focused on killing monsters by using mire-like, entering metal techniques, and then exiting while defending yourself. And in doing that, they sometimes receive momentous blows and use that to pirouette maybe. That doesn't quite function when you look at, for example, the fight between Siri and Cohen, which is more of a spar, where they're going through the motions, they're talking, and they're using half pirouettes and pirouettes, but they're not really dealing each other heavy blows. So maybe it's a little bit half baked, maybe it works. Hard to say. Overall, I think the books have a very solid understanding of how swordplay works. And I think that is probably because Sapkowski has done some sort of modern fencing, because he used those terms. I will probably have to check what they used in the original Polish, but in the translations they use primo, secunda, etc., which is very modern. So he probably, and he used the closed eye idea of compressing your techniques and then just doing them and then having these movement series and then exiting the defense. He clearly knows how that functions, so he's written it like that, and it's very good. It works, which hasn't really quite translated into the games. The games. Now that I'm here, I'm going to talk about the games too. I think the first Witcher game has the best fencing. There's the biggest amount of animations for Geralt doing swordsmanship stuff is in the first game, because there's 6 styles, 3 steel, 3 silver, and the 3 styles for each. So, and each is completely different. There's completely different animations, and it's not really. It doesn't really concern itself with realism in the way that the weapons and attacks interact. Rather, it's animations playing out, and it's sort of like almost turn-based. Almost. It wasn't very good as a game, but the animations are probably the best. There's a lot of good things I like about the first game. Actually, I wrote some down here too. Oh, right. The basic attacks for the steel sword attacks are very good. I like them. The first level attacks, when you level it up, it becomes more complex and a little bit worse. But like strong steel, which is a foam dog, and it's like sort of this huge blow with a step through. And then when you get the second level, he starts kicking, which is weird. Not as cool. Third level, he starts doing like half swording and murder strikes. Fast style steel was the deal here, which I think he was doing like things like this, which is very good. It's very fast. It's flashy. I like it. My favorite really is, of course, group steel, it's basically strong, fast group. And from here, it's sort of this serpentine movement, and it's big, sweeping motions. That's probably completely wrong, but it's basically very inspired by Montante. Great sword techniques. Sweeping strikes, spinning around. The most pirouettes, really, in the first game are there, I would say. Yeah. The second game is, it's a massive downgrade. It's just awful. Geralt handles the sword like it's a baseball bat. He constantly lets go of the sword with one hand, so there's like stuff, and the attack animations are randomized. So sometimes at distance he will do the big spin. Sometimes he will thrust, I think. Sometimes he will do a roll and attack. It's awful. And that kind of extends to the cinematics, the cutscenes too, between him and Letho. The fight choreography doesn't really make sense. Like, if you look at the last fight between him and Letho, it's just nonsense. It's just like, how did he disarm Letho with that? I don't understand. It's really weird. It's similarly for the one. Oh yeah, the execution in the first game also very nice. There are the beheadings and there's actually first game executions are pretty bad. Second game executions for like instant kill opponents are for one person they're pretty bad. Against 2 people when you max out the sword tree, if I remember correctly, it's the adrenaline move. Those are pretty nice. They're very cool. And some of the best, yeah. And there's lots of really cool flourishes. Like, we'll cut someone, and then he'll, like, let the sword, it's over without it's too light. Like, he'll cut someone, and and then let the sword's own momentum sort of like peek around. It looks very cool. I think the fight with the Letho's two buddies from the was it the School of the Cat or the Snake? I can't remember. Letho's two henchmen, groupies, when they die to Geralt, that's pretty cool too. Yeah, overall, Witcher 2 is the worst. I like it a lot as a game. Really, I adore it. But the fighting is just awful. In 3, there's more weird stuff. The animations are more polished than in 2. Less baseball swinging, but still kind of weird. Like they had a good mocap guy doing the movements for Witcher 3. But it's like the sword is weightless, or the handles are like, the way he holds the sword is just wrong. It looks really weird. Like there's this move which he really commonly does, where he's down in like a low guard like this, and then he cuts like this, and it's just like, I can't even do it. It looks just off. It's like if you cut from down below with a false edge, you can't like cut like this. It's not like a cut like that. You have to give it a little twist with the wrist to actually economy acceleration. And you have no structure really behind it. But he's sort of just like doing it. It looks off. Just wrong. It just looks wrong. Like it's a lightsaber or something, where just any kind of cut causes an instant death. It's weird. The cutscenes in 3 are very well done. They're very well done, very flashy, very polished. And as are the executions in 3. They look very nice. There is that. Yeah, I think I mentioned I think I mentioned the 3 also has that random attack for like distance. You might roll and thrust, or you might do a jumping attack, or you might do a normal swing. It's weird. It doesn't look. It's annoying, and it's randomized. It's randomized so that you don't start to like, I think, game the attacks, which you should do in a swordsmanship game. Like, this is a good move in this distance, this measure, this many enemies. You would thrust and then you would do something like that. But no, it's just like randomized. So you just mash the button. I don't like it. There's also this weird artifact, I'm going to call it a weird artifact, from Dark Souls or Demon Souls, around that time getting really popular. So The Witcher 2 introduced rolling. I don't think Witcher 1 had any rolling. You had dodges. You could somersault over enemies, and you could do pirouettes to move around them, but it was kind of, you could just also just walk. And rolling actively doesn't make sense. It's not a good movement technique. Geralt should know how to roll, but it should be a break fall, or as they say it in Japan, ukebi. So, especially since he's fighting huge monsters. Let's say he wants to dodge, but he gets caught up and the attack comes from this side instead of that side, so he's sent flying. Okay? Well, then in that case, when he's sent flying, he should be able to have enough space here. I don't think so. I'm going to sit down. So he should have enough. Can you even see anything? There. I'm not going to do a roll. But he should have the instinctive ability to perform a break fall, a roll on the ground to get back to his feet without like getting sprawled over on this ground and just like breaking all his bones, because it would disperse the impact of him being hit by some huge fucking monster. It makes sense, but as an active dodge, like I'm going to dodge this attack by rolling before it hits me, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's just it's weird, and also introduces this really weird. It's not as much of a thing in Dark Souls, where the character moves very slowly when you lock on, I think. Like in Witcher 2, I noticed that, no, Witcher 3, and to an extent 2, I noticed that I'm using the dodge as a mobility move, as a utility movement skill to move around more. Because, especially in 3, when you draw the sword, you start moving, you're very slow, you're very deliberate. But you could just be moving. You could just be moving around fast. You can't do that, so you have to dodge, and then you're locked in place. and if you dodge, you're locked in place again. As a game, I suppose it makes sense that you don't want the player to be constantly spamming the dodge move, because you've given him a life range. So you want to make it higher risk, higher reward, or something like that. But it just, because Geralt is so slow just walking around normally, you have to use it anyway, or I use it anyway as a movement skill. It breaks the flow of the game. It's just very annoying. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. At least, and yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't remember a single roll in the game, in the book, I mean. There's lots of pirouettes and lots of dodges and lots of movements, but I don't remember Geralt or Ciri ever specifically rolling, even as a breakfall. So that's kind of, yeah. But yeah, this has gotten very long, so I should probably finish it up and quit here. I'm not going to edit this or anything, so I'm just going to slap these two videos together and I'll put it on YouTube. I'm really putting these more on YouTube just so I can say that I had these thoughts around this time, and if no one watches them, that's fine. I want proof that I thought these things, and then I can later refer to them. So that's whatever. Bye.